Today for One on One, we're here with Jason Goodstriker and Councillor Lonnie Dodge from the Caldwell First Nation, and we're talking about the Caldwell First Nation first powwow and land repatriation. So before we went for break, we were talking a little bit about some of the importance and how the powwow is an all-inclusive thing to the community. It's literally like an entity. It has a life all its own. We discussed some of the historical significance attached to this.
Right.
And is there anything else you'd like to add on that, Lonnie? Jason?
Well, when we get down to dancing, dancers have been notified, and the invitation has gone out by way of production of a poster. And so people share with this all across the land. And I've heard things as recently as today that, you know, this poster's already touched down as far away as Vancouver in California.
Whoa.
So we've got traveling dancers that take this on as a hobby. And so they come through, and many of them, they dance and they partake in this as a summertime fun thing for them to do as a family. You'll get a lot of singles as well at these powwows, but and that historically has a whole other story behind it. But that's how couples are made.
That's how little stories are made.
Yeah. And,
Snagged him at a powwow.
yeah, and so what we end up having is we're going to be playing host to perhaps maybe 150, 200 drummers, and they split up into groups of 8 to 10 singers, and so many of these drum groups are family members. Many of them are related by their nation affiliation. And then the dancers that come as well, some of them will be singing as well, and some of them will be partaking in a couple different things, but they'll all be coming here. How the powwow is sectioned up is that we dance according to the dance styles that these dancers are familiar with, and many of them, they come from that culture. They'll come from that, and so when we format out an agenda, we take time to honor each dance style. There's a men's traditional dance style that is advertised, and so there's men's traditional dancers that will be here. Amongst the Iroquois Confederacy, they have a lot of pride in a dance style that they find of value, and it's called smoke dance. And both men and women participate in this, and so they're competing. Judging is an opportunity here that we'd like to continue to discuss and create that dialogue, because we have a chance here to incorporate town folk, nation members. We have a chance here where we could have them go through this process of helping the Caldwell judge as to who's going to be their dance champions. And that's exciting because when we get into a balloting system, it's similar to figure skating in the Olympics. Judges score dancers, and it's all ranked, and it all comes in, and the results are given, and then that's how the champions are determined. What the judges look for is the beauty of the outfits, the footwork, and when you look at a dancer from a spiritual perspective, you see the pride that they'll take in what they do. And so that's how the balloting happens at the conclusion of their dance styles. So we have dancers coming in from the very senior categories, the elderly, all the way down to what we call the tiny tots. And that's actually one of my favorites, because they're small, they all want to dance, they all want to be part of this. And so we'll have a chance with our staff to explain this all as the event is going on, and so people will become familiar and aware of what these dancers are and what the meanings behind them are. Yeah.
Now, I know we've had so much to talk about, so much to do. Like I said earlier, putting a powwow on, that's no small feat. That's a lot of people out there in the community never been exposed.
Right.
And I guess there's a certain etiquette.
Sure.
And a lot of people don't know. Can I film? Can I take pictures?
Sure.
Is it okay for me to take an audio recording at this time?
Sure.
You've been an MC for quite a while.
Yeah.
You've done numerous powwows all across the country.
Yeah.
Maybe you'd like to take a couple minutes and just explain
Sure.
some do's and don'ts, some basic etiquette.
When we get to the dance, it's very congested inside these arenas. And so one thing that we'll be constantly reminding the crowd of, and it don't matter if it's Indians or white people or Latinos or whatever, but we just need to keep the pathways open so that the dancers can come in and walk out. And that's basic protocol. Most everybody has camera phones now, and there's some people that look on photography as part of their hobby as well, and there's professional photographers there. The powwow is intended to be a public event, and so photo taking is allowed. Recordings are allowed at drum groups. The only thing that we would like to say about stuff like that is that because it's going to be so congested in the area that people don't need to be crowding in and around the drums. We have to clear areas for the judges. And that's for both the singing, because there's a singing contest and there's a dance contest. The floor is the floor. Everybody is welcome to come on out onto the floor and to dance in common times. Those are called intertribals. And so everybody kind of dance in a circular clockwise formation, and they're out on the floor. Everybody's welcome to be on the floor. However, during the dance contest itself, we tend to back the photographers off so that they're allowed, because it is a competition. That's all allowed. And if people want to take pictures of dancers, you know, there's no shy way of doing it. All they have to do is ask them, and you'll find that these dancers are very accommodating, and they'll stand for you. That's kind of basically how that goes. There's really only one ceremony, and we'll have it announced that and we'll have it announced at the appropriate time if that happens, but to turn off cameras and to turn off, because there's a sacredness that goes with that part. But that's something that, it's kind of a bridge that we'll cross when we do it, and it'll be known that there'll be no cameras at that time.
I was going to say, there would be another time when the cameras would be turned off. Then say I had an eagle feather, it was part of my regalia, and it fell off.
Yeah, that's exactly, and that's really the only ceremony that we, and you asked me, and so the reason behind it, and I'll explain it to you this way, is that we as First Nations people, we believe in our hearts and in our minds, and to correct through a ceremony like that, to pick up an eagle feather that has fallen, we remind ourselves that we don't record the song and we don't take pictures of that, because if we do, how it's explained is that we're disrespecting our heart and our mind. And that's the protocol behind that we don't film that, because we have to remember this ceremony with our hearts and our minds. And so that's really the only time that on occasion that happens. It happens, but that's how we deal with it.
So remember, folks, if you get the word, stop filming, stop recording. You're there to witness it for yourself. And if you're not there, then you're not going to worry about it.
But it's something to see. It's exciting.
I've seen several feather recovery ceremonies. They're very solemn.
Yeah.
They are very solemn.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in some ways, it's even sad.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of explanation that goes on with that. If people are wondering about the times and the events, obviously, like we said, that everything is going to be set up there and it'll be on an agenda. But the start times is going to be Friday afternoon, evening, we'll start. And then Saturday after the ceremony, we're going to have the grand entry. And that's what the beginning of the powwow is called, where we dance in all the dancers. Saturday is going to be exciting because we got a ceremony happening just before that for the Caldwell. And so all of the visiting dignitaries are going to be, they're all invited,
Yes,
Lonnie?
yes, that we've done the invitations, and we're hoping for sure that all the people are, as far as even the Prime Minister is invited.
Well,
So
we'll cross our fingers.
we'll cross our fingers, we're gonna hope. All governments, all the local chiefs, they're all invited. And like I said, there's so much excitement happening out there. On our webpage, people are just starting to, swarm it, I guess, that's the word. And at night, I'm answering emails of what we're gonna be doing. So the excitement's there. And I just want people to come out to have a good time. And not to be afraid to do anything, really, because for our people, it's one of the greatest ceremonies of our time. And even when I was on election to run for council, I've always wanted our people to have a home, and that's what I ran on originally, way back when. But that we all have a home, and we're going to be home again on our own land, doing things that we're doing. And like I said, those dignitaries are important, and because we're all one nation together, and we're talking to the governments nation to nation now, and that's how it should be. And they're respecting us, and they're acknowledging us.
You know, it's a super part, it's super Canadian.
Yeah.
It's a super event, and but there was once a time, you know, when we weren't allowed to have this, and it was against the law for us
Against the law
to
to play,
practice our ceremonies. And so, living in this day and age, getting away from that, that's why we say this is accessible for everybody. All the people of Leamington, all the people of this area are more than welcome to come on out and attend.
Excellent.
Our citizens will be so happy, you know. Or I'm looking to have a part of the grand entry that everybody will have the same color shirt. So when they walk in, we'll have like a sea of red or a sea of white or whatever color that we're wearing, that they'll actually want to be here and be part of this, because it is historic.
Yeah.
And a gathering of our nations, of our people all together, you know, everybody is excited, I'm sure. Right?
It's actually almost overwhelming sometimes.
I'm starting to wonder if we have enough space.
There's only a little small thing. I know we love our animals. Working dogs are definitely allowed.
Yeah.
But we ask that people just keep their pets at home, because it just kind of adds to
Yeah, the congestion is already
the
bad
congestion.
enough.
So we're trying to manage all of the access points. We've discussed shuttling for our spectators, and so that will be available once we finalize our plans. Parking for the dancers and singers is going to be accessible. There's going to be handicap parking and such. And then we're going to do our best. We're going to do our best, but it's still fleshing itself out. Hey? Yeah. I think watch out for the signs here in town. Mark the date, and then on our website, what's our website?
Caldwell powwow.ca.
Think about it for a second.
Well, no, I had
there.
to think about it. I was answering the emails, right? So,
Yeah.
so I know, and it's a very nice website too. It's easy to access. It's easy to, what's that word we use to?
Yeah. Yeah.
Easy to navigate.
Easy to navigate. That's the most
Yeah.
important thing. Is I hate going to websites where you can't navigate them, and as far as you can. Right?
Perfect.
What we're also working on in the weeks and a couple months now is that we're going to continue to add into the website, and we're going to try and have as quick as we can an explanation of each of the dances that you're going to see.
Oh, perfect.
So you'll be able to get a little bit of, because there's a beautiful story behind each dance. There's a beautiful story, and one that Lonnie likes smoke dance. I'm a fan of all the dances, but one dance that's really cool to see belongs to the people here of the Ojibwe and the Potawatomi. It's the jingle dress dance.
Yeah,
Yeah, the jingle dress dance. That's what's one of the gifts that the original people of this area gave to Pow Wow.
That's one of
So
my
you're gonna-
favorites.
You're gonna
yeah.
see the champions here.
Oh boy, I can't wait. I love listening to just listening to them when they walk out on the field.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you've got enough jingle dresses out there, I mean,
Yeah.
it makes a noise all by itself.
Yeah.
It sounds like the rain on a tin roof sometimes.
yeah.
I'll say this about the jingle dress. Originally, it was a healing dance, and so there's people that are going to come here, all colors of people, and Lonnie and I, we've both have had, things happen in our life, but this is one of those things that's our activity of how we heal ourselves, and so, you may have never been to a powwow before.
Yeah.
But the spirit of the dance and the spirit of the drum, it'll fill you.
Yeah,
And you'll feel a little bit different when you
Oh.
leave.
Yeah.
Isn't the drum described as actually the heartbeat of Mother
Right,
Earth?
yeah.
Right?
That's, it's something that it speaks to all of us. And I'll explain it like this. People ask me through the years, why don't you add in guitars or banjos or harmonicas and stuff like that?
Oh.
We've kept it simple, First Nations people all
Yeah.
across this land, and the drum beat is the heartbeat that you heard
Yeah.
when you were a baby inside with your mother. And everybody has heard that beat.
I
And
know
so
it always soothes me.
Yeah, it returns you.
Yeah,
It returns you.
it does. We're working towards a green powwow. Could you explain that?
Well, go ahead, Lou.
So actually, we partner with Walker Industries. Walker Industries, actually, the manager that I was working with is Darren Fry. And he's almost willing to do anything. He's been working with Powwows for a few years. And he's willing to supply some shirts. And we have a high school that's got youth that want to be involved in environmental issues.
Great.
So what we're going to have at the powwow, I should say compliments of Darren and the industry, is that we're going to have little sites all over. So people, they'll have green shirts on, but they'll be sitting at these little booths saying, not booth, I should say, bins, yeah, saying this goes in here, this goes in here, this. One of the greatest wastage is food, right? So we get all the food in one place. There's no use trying to recycle without saving, putting plastic in it or stuff gets in it, then it's not recyclable. It gets too messed up. So even from there, the bins will go to a recycle area again, right? So it'll get recycled again into the proper picking out of what they can. And we're hoping to have a waste reduction of 50 to 75%, which is
Everybody's going to have to be on the ball, including our guests when they show up. Hey?
Yes. So like I said, I have Walker Industries right now. I have a hotel, the Seacliff Inn. They've actually given us a few rooms. We reserved a few rooms. I have another hotel that I'm working with that will give us more rooms for some of the head people that are coming, or not even the head people, just for the general audience, for everybody that travels the distance for a place to stay. Even.
There's another dimension to this for your viewers here, and it's how do I get involved? and we're preparing. We're going to need an army of volunteers. You'll have a chance to be part of the staff of the production, and this is open for everybody. So if you belong to a church group, if you're a migrant worker, if you're, and we will have a reception tent for all of our helpers, but we do need, and there'll be a little workshop. You could go online, you could get a volunteer form, and we fill it out. And as we do that and go towards the event, there'll be meals and all that stuff set up for all of our volunteers. But we'd like to encourage everybody from all backgrounds, whoever wants to be part of our volunteer staff, that's an open invitation there.
Oh, that's good. That's just one more way to show that the powwow is actually an all-inclusive. It tries to encompass the local community.
Yep.
I guess if you really wanted, you could say it was a real melting pot as a powwow.
It is a real melting pot. But also, it's also a learning experience for all of us, even for myself, because we weren't raised with culture. Well, I shouldn't be so broad speaking, but I personally wasn't raised in the culture of our First Nations, right?
Yeah,
So,
there's been a
Well, he's a
challenge
pretty
for-
good boss, I'll say that.
Oh, excellent.
He's an old pro at this already now, so.
Oh, perfect.
thank you.
So you're the man to look for the next powwow.
No, we're creating a book, and, and it'll be handed off next year. No, I'm just kidding, but
You know, this
it
is,
fun.
yeah, it's been an experience where you're using an event like this, and I'd like to encourage all of the people in the local area to think about it as this is going to be a fixed event in your fabric. I've been to, you know, tons and tons of other cities, and they really include it in their operations as an annual event. There's cities like Kamloops. There's cities just like the edge of Edmonton. There's cities on like south end of Calgary, and you see advertisements and everybody's
Even
coming
Toronto,
out.
just what, this last week?
Yeah, yeah.
And Walpole
Toronto.
Island?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
And
there.
so, you know, down the road with everybody's, you know, year-to-year basis and in their travels, you know, it's something else to talk about. They say, you know, out here in Leamington and out here for the Caldwell, you guys should come and see our powwow. It's big, hey?
With camping, some of the accommodations for the guests.
Well, accommodations is it's an issue. However, we're making sure everything's there, comfortable for some of the traveling staff, some of the people that are going to be in attendance as dignitaries and such. But we do have a camping area. And what happens often at the powwows is that you'll get traveling families, like I explained. And what often that they'll bring is a 2-man tent, a 4-man tent, or whatever, and then they'll set up coolers and little cook stoves and such. Unfortunately, there's no fire with our camping area, just because it's a little bit much to take on. There's going to be one sacred fire that's necessary for the powwow itself, but that will be managed by ourselves. But out in the camping area, it's going to be designed for the traveling families and for anybody who wants to come out and stay. And so you could stay, and you could say that you spent 1 or 2 nights on an Indian reserve. So that's exciting. And again, no pets. But what's common in these camp areas is that we're trying to make it as comfortable as possible. The food trucks that are coming in, that are, some are local, some are traveling food trucks, but they provide breakfasts and such. And so we're trying to do it up as traditional as possible. People would be coming in attendance, and then we will do our best to have water available, not just bottled water for the spectators and for the people that are coming and the dancers and singers, but we'd like to have in the camping area water available for washing and such. And so that's how we're preparing.
Great.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Well, no, I was thinking about the water too, the potable water too, so that that's most important, especially in August, because it's going to be so dry.
Yeah.
And it'll be warm and humid, and the elders and whoever, that drink as much water as possible, right? Also, but along with the drinking, because we are traditional, right? And it's the whole thing about powwows. It's traditional. So First Nations people were never, alcohol was never part of our lifestyle. It never came until later on at first contact. And but yeah, there's been no alcohol, no drugs, no drugs. That I can suppose I can't make judgment calls for people who are on medicinal stuff, but as for alcohol and drugs, just say no. Not especially at this time. Right?
Yeah,
It's about having fun, being yourself, right?
Well, that, and it's a pretty significant moment, so you want to kind of look at it and not be drunk and under the influence.
Right.
It makes it a bad time for everybody.
Right. Final comments?
Sure. What do you got?
I just want everybody to come out. You're all invited. It's going to be an exciting time. It's going to be somewhat special, and I would invite people that are looking to attend this. The grand entries where you'll see all the dancers come in, that's something else. But one thing that's very important, and we got to keep reminding ourselves, is that ceremony that we're going to walk ourselves through on Saturday for the actual event of the honoring of the land. And it's exciting. It's an exciting story. People want to see this. We want to do everything right. We do have elders, and there'll be a ceremonial presence at our dedication time that we'll have. And so that's going to be something. That's why I was so happy that there was going to be a lot of media involved and such, because it's a beautiful story.
Thank you, gentlemen. We've been speaking with Councillor Lonnie Dodge of the Caldwell First Nation and Jason Goodstriker, Pow Wow MC. So remember, August 12th and 13th, come on out and celebrate with us, rejuvenation of spirit. Back to you, Tony.
Well, that's it for this episode. Until next time, join us right here on One on One.